Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad you're here. I want to take a quick second, shout out and say thank you to all the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to anyone who's come in to check out my knife, my EDC content. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you're so inclined and you hadn't had a chance yet, if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it really does help me out. So today I want to take a little bit of time and talk about 5, in my case 6, budget or value knives that are well under $100 that I have picked up to try and that I have found to be really good knives, reliable knives, and unique knives in a lot of different ways, some more than others. This is the CJRB version. It is a unique little small thin blade, kind of a leaf style blade, very thin G10 and aluminum handle with a very pronounced front finger choil and front grip. This knife weighs like 1.7 ounces. It is super light. And for an EDC knife, a light EDC knife, say an office knife, it is very slicey. Again, you've got that, what I consider kind of a leafy style blade. It is a Dirk Pinkerton design. It is made out of CJRB's proprietary AARP M9 steel. It has a middle finger deployment slot. It also has a top flipper that works both very well. The button lock, even though the blade is very light, works well. But this is a nice little knife. It's a smaller knife. If we were going to do some size comparisons, just up against the bug out, for example, it's going to be closer in size to the mini bug out than the full size bug out. But just to give you an idea, that is going to be right under 6.5 inches. So the blade is about 2.5 inches. The handle is about 3.5 inches. The inside area to that finger choil is 3 3/4 with a cutting edge of 2 inches. So a smaller knife, the smallest knife on this budget knife category, but these guys are very inexpensive. And I've gotten a lot of good use out of this knife. Put a really good edge on it after using it for a while just to get some of the burnt steel off, and I've really enjoyed it. Looks unique, but again, deep carry clip, nice G10 for the texturing, aluminum bolsters, very comfortable knife. So moving on, we come to a knife that this particular version is going to be right around $100, a little bit more, but this is the Kizer Drop Bear. This knife is made in so many different configurations. You can get the same blade steel, the 14C. This is actually 154 cm. You can get G10, micarta handles, and get this well under $70. This one happens to be aluminum handles, a little bit heavier, but the Drop Bear is what I consider a very basic yet effective ExOne designed knife that is pretty much the same size as the bug out, same form factor, a little bit thicker. Not necessarily, well, yeah, you got a little thicker blade stock, got a thicker handle, but the knife is designed with the same type of bar lock, really aggressive, strong detent, snappy detent. You've got jimping that goes up this entire spear point blade. Again, 154 cm. It is a basic bitch knife in terms of its look. Might not be the most exciting knife in this group, but again, the Drop Bears start out, I want to say around $65, $66. This one came in right around, I want to say $108. But they are great knives for an EDC knife, for a knife that's not going to break the bank and give you a lot of good use. Quality materials, quality build. Kizer kind of was my budget go-to either Kizer or Civivi when I was collecting a lot of budget knives. But this drop bear, I was late to the game on it. I think it's a fantastic knife. It's going to come in right at a little bit shorter than the bug out, but not by much. So I'm going to call it right over 7 inches with a 3-inch blade and a 4-inch handle. Inside grip of 3.5. So that is the Kizer Ozo designed drop bear. Great for the middle finger flick, great thumb flicker. You do have the thumb studs, and you've got the bar style lock, so you can just flip it open. Great knife, a lot of different configurations, and it comes in at the right price point. Moving on, we come to one of my favorite budget knives, kind of all times, the CJRB Pyrite. I've had this knife in almost every configuration that it's come out in. I bought it in micarta. I bought it in titanium. I got it in the cleaver blade, which was really more of a sheep's foot. I got the mini Pyrite, and then I picked this up on Amazon a few weeks ago. This is the Bowie Pyrite with steel handles, AARP M9 blade steel. It is the kind of rose gold. I have sharpened it, and I've used it on a lot of cardboard and stuff. And the finish of the blade steel is very resistant to any type of wear. So I've run it through wood. I've run it through cardboard. And the finish, that rose goldy finish, is very durable. Or it seems to be very thick. You can see where my edge is there, how it's not rose gold, so you can definitely get past that. But it is, again, a very slicey package. About the same size, kind of in that bug out range, what I consider to be a really good EDC size knife. What I love about this one is it's thin blade stock. It's impeccable action. It's got the Bowie tip, which even though it's a little taller to the surface, it is so pokey, so stabby, and again, still very functional to where you can get down and do those detail cuts without too much trouble. The other thing I really like about the Pyrite, the Bowie Pyrite, all the other Pyrites had the thumb studs like this one, had the button lock that worked flawlessly, perfectly centered. This one adds a fuller on that Bowie blade, which really give you a lot of torque and a lot of opening possibilities. So I can easily middle finger flick that thumb stud, but I can also come down here, get the fuller, and get the middle finger flick anywhere on that fuller. So this guy comes in, I want to say under 50 bucks. It is a fantastic knife, in my opinion. Let's do our bug out size comparison and then get a quick measurement on it. So it's going to be just about exactly the same size as the bug out. And that is going to weigh in at 7 1/4 with about a 3 1/8 inch blade, about a 4-inch handle, and to that choil, if you look at the inside grip, you're at 4 inches, 3 1/4 here, 4 inches here. I can highly recommend any of these knives that I'm showing you, but I really like all of them. The Pyrite's a great knife. I kept this thing in my pocket for a really long time, have put it through a lot of tests, have put an edge on it. I think it's a fantastic knife, really snappy detent for a button lock that just drops shut. So that is the CJRB Pyrite Bowie. So moving on, we come to a little newer, I guess you'd call it a specimen that was sent to me by Kizer to check out that just dropped. And this is the Militaw in the G10 micarta. This comes out, no kidding, in about 15 different configurations. You can get red G10 with swirly G10s, like confetti looking handles, or you can get more muted colors. You can get stonewash blades, you can get black blades. But the Militaw has been a really popular knife for Kizer with a frame lock. in S35, and up to, you know, about $240 if you got the DLC coded. It was so popular that they brought out an entire line of liner locks, as well as some minis, as well as some fixed blades. Because again, the Militaw is a really nice design. Going to be a little bit larger than the bug out, kind of PM2 sized, but a wonderful knife. This is the budget Militaw. So this one's going to come in under $70. It is Nitro V blade steel. Again, G10 scales with these really neat insets of micarta that you simply take your T8, and I wonder, and wouldn't be surprised if Kizer didn't offer scales or inserts for these. The only reason I say is there's so many different variations of these knives, and they're all cut the same. I tried it because it looked like my fixed blade, and the folders were going to be interchangeable, but they weren't. They're different sizes, different lengths. But what you'll notice is this is how you take this knife apart. So you take off, this is actually micarta. You can see it on the back side. G10, and then take your pivot out, take your pivot screw out, and you can get to your liners. So that's all that's holding the knife together. You do have this screw back here on the clip side, but I would think that Kizer could really offer, because I know they do the Ultim inserts, they do just really all different flavors, and I think it would be cool, kind of like the Flytanium Arcade, if that was an option that Kizer made available, where you could pick up, you know, for 15, 10, whatever, 20 bucks, a set of inserts to dress up whichever budget Militaw you picked up. But it's just those 4 screws on each side holding that in, and T8s all the way around. I think the clip is T6. It is, but everything else is T8. And the Militaw, again, a bigger knife, so if we were going to look at it next to the bug out, we would see that it's a larger knife than the bug out. Look at it next to the PM2. A little bit shorter, but probably closer in size to the PM2, which means this is going to be the biggest knife in my budget list of top 5 or top 6 today. But this guy is going to come in at 8 inches with a 3 1/4, right over a 3 1/4 inch blade, and a 4 1/2 inch handle. Extremely comfortable knife, extremely well designed knife in terms of shape, in terms of blade, in terms of blade geometry. Very slicey, very pokey, stabby. And the actions on ceramic ball bearings, very, very nice. You got the reverse finger flick. If you like the thumb flick, you've got that. You've also got your, whoops, I keep missing it, your front flipper. And this front flipper's done really well because your jimping, whoops, comes up and all the way around that corner. And that did not scuff the blade either. I've noticed this PVC or whatever this is coated with is very, very strong, because I've run this through a ton of cardboard before I did the review on it. Ton of wood, did some chopping, some stabbing, and it's just been a great knife. I think for, like I say, under 70 bucks, Kizer's got a winner on their hands in the design, and I love to see when they kind of pivot and offer it in a more affordable package. Deep carry clip, fantastic knife. Now this knife is by no means a new knife, but this knife is still available, and it's still a very popular knife. Mine's so popular, it's got shit on it, on the scales, sheetrock mud it looks like. But this is the Civivi Vision FG. The Vision FG is probably up until just recently, was my favorite budget knife. It's still one that's going to stay in my collection. It's one that I don't set up for giveaways because I really do love this knife. I've got the Vision R2 by Bowie, but I really think this FG is an exceptional knife. It's got a fantastically designed blade with a nice, tall, flat grind, kind of a reverse Tanto sheep's footy style blade. And then you've got an extremely ergonomical handle with the Snex lock, which is a lock that's kind of similar to the Demco lock. But if you watch right here in this hole, when this blade comes up, it pushes the spring back. That's got a little lip on it. There's a spring back here. When it comes around, there's basically a hole in that blade that this pops back in. And if you look there now, you'll see that it's locked up. When I pull that Snex lock back, it pulls that little pin out of the blade and allows it to shut. So, the Bowie Vision FG. Oh man, it is a great knife. It's got steel, full steel liners, so it feels like definitely a sturdy knife. It's going to be shorter than the bug out. Or excuse me, longer than the bug out. It's going to be shorter than the PM2. It's going to be a little bit shorter than our Kizer Militaw, but really close in that size with the Militaw. Just a hair shorter, maybe just about the same size. But a fantastic knife. What I love about this knife, it had a deep carry clip. I bought this $12 titanium Civivi clip just to kind of dress this knife up a little bit. Threw skiff bearings in it. The thumb studs make this knife. So my Vision R has the thumb hole. You can flip it. It has great action, but it just doesn't have the snap because you don't get the traction that you can get off these thumb studs. I love the lock bar, or excuse me, the lock system, the Snex lock. I'm a huge fan of the Demco lock. I'm a huge fan of this Snex lock. It's very fidgety. It holds and locks up very tightly. You've got this forward choil. You've got a lot of usable blade. Fantastic knife, under $80. The Bowie Vision FG, probably one of the best budget knives in the market. My favorite budget knife so far this year is a knife that I picked up about a month ago. It's also a Civivi knife. It's not as exciting per se as the Vision FG. I don't know if it'll have the same timely luster as the Vision FG, but this is a knife that's a collaboration with Civivi and Brian Brown. Brian Brown, who is the designer of the Jaeger and the maker of the Jaeger M. This knife is the ExOne, ExOne, which is the budget version of the Brian Brown Jaeger. The handle is a little bit different, but the blade, when you hold them up together, they look absolutely identical. This one is Nitro V. You've got a deep hollow grind, this black washed blade. You got Brian's maker's mark there. You've got Civivi on the pivot. You've got this wonderfully shaped blade. You've also got a flipper tab. But this blade is a great utility cutter. It's a great slicer. It's a great cardboard destroyer. Just an absolute winner. Under 60 bucks. I picked this up. I'd seen it at Blade Show, but I didn't get to handle it because there were so many people around the Civivi booth at the time that I really didn't want to wait that long at the Civivi booth. No offense, Civivi. I just was there for a day. I didn't have a ton of time. But this thing is got fantastic blade geometry. Really good blade steel with that Nitro V. And just a fantastic knife. It's on bearings. It's on the original factory bearings. I've not put it on skiffs. This one has G10 handles because I wanted the blacked out version. I picked this up at Amazon like I did several of these knives. But it comes in several different finishes. You can get it in Damascus. You can get it in a stonewash blade. You can get it with micarta handles. Again, liner lock. Kind of tight access to the liner lock, but I'm not mad at it. I'm just used to my frame lock. Jaeger. But you've got this fuller that runs down the entire length of the blade that actually caps right here before it opens up. So you've got your flipper tab, or you can use that fuller to get a middle finger flip. Really nice jimping. I can get in front of that finger choil if I need to. And this guy, if we look at it next to the bug out, it is going to be right in that same size. But just to get a quick Javon measurement, we'll call it 7 1/16 with a 3-inch blade and a 2 3/4 inch cutting area. Grip inside of 3 1/2 to the choil, 4 1/4 comfortably, but just a winner of a knife. My favorite budget knife so far this year. And that's, guys, is so subjective because I am a personal fan of the Jaeger. The Brian Brown Jaeger is one of my favorite knives. So when I saw that he did a collaboration with Civivi to do a budget knife, I was very, very interested to see how it was going to come out. And I have been very, very pleased with it. I think it's a great knife. I think it's a highly recommendable knife. And I just dig it. So guys, we have the Civivi ExOne, ExOne. We've got the Civivi Vision FG. We've got the Kizer, got cardboard shreds everywhere. The Kizer Militaw EDC, or the budget Kizer Militaw. We've got the CJRB Pyrite with the Bowie. We've got the Kizer Drop Bear. Keep in mind this aluminum one's going to be a little more expensive, but they have this in so many different configurations, many of them well under 70 bucks. And then you've got the little CJRB version that's going to come in around $45. But 6 budget knives you can't go wrong on. I love all of them. I've been very pleased with all of them. Guys, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I really appreciate it. All I ask is please give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave me a comment if you'd like to. Hit the subscribe button. But mainly, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Go forward with love in your hearts and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.